12-year-old Bradley Gately and 13-year-old Sarah Creason accidentally damaged her car while goofing around after school.
Now, Bradley, what you said to me was very interesting at first. You said to me, Bradley, that you were playing around.
No.
Who were you playing around with?
Sarah.
How were you playing around?
We were poking each other.
Show me how you were doing that. Did she poke you a little harder at some point?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that how you tripped?
No, I was running backwards. That's it.
You were running backwards so that she couldn't poke you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I got it. So you were sort of running away from her.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, your parents say that it's not your fault because Miss Katowski's car was parked in a no parking zone.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your defense, among other things. First, that they weren't fooling around. Second, that the damage wasn't as extensive as she claims. But most importantly, that the reason that her car was dented is because she was in a no parking zone. Who came up with that defense? Raise your paw.
The claim on the report...
Stand up when you're talking.
The claim on the report that the SRO, which is a school resource officer given, claimed vandalism. And in my knowledge, vandalism is an intentional destruction of whether private or public property. And
Miss, what's your last name?
Gately.
Miss Gately, I want to know who came up with the defense that the reason her car got damaged was because she was parked in a no parking zone.
The reason I felt that it wasn't their responsibility, the cars normally are not parked in that area, and the children, he was running backwards, and he didn't expect for a car to be there because there are not supposed to be cars there, so he wasn't being cautious.
Listen to me. Do you know that if the car wasn't there, he could have gotten seriously injured? Because
Well, he
he would.
could have
I'm speaking.
busted
Listen
his
to me.
behind.
Listen to me. I'm speaking. Because instead of hitting a car, which broke his fall, he would have gone directly to the pavement.
It's still illegal for her to be parked there, and I just...
Your Honor, I have some pictures.
I have pictures also.
I'm not interested in pictures. Let us say you were jaywalking across the street and somebody came up to you with a knife, put the knife in your gut and said, "Give me your wallet." You gave him your pocketbook, but the police were there and they apprehended him. And his defense at trial was you were jaywalking.
It's not the same thing.
Let's say that instead of jaywalking, her car was parked in an area that said no parking. Were you there to do what? You were there to pick up a child?
Picking up my grandson.
Okay, she was there to pick up a child. And let's say instead of falling backwards and hitting his head on her car because they were just playing around, they weren't doing anything maliciously. He was running away from her, he fell over her car and scratched her whole car with the buttons on his jacket. Your defense would be the same, that her car should not have been parked there. It was illegally parked, and but for the fact that it was illegally parked, her car would not have been damaged. Would that be your defense, Miss Gately? Well, doesn't that sound stupid to you? Yes, of course it does. And what parents are supposed to do is to teach their children to act responsibly. And I don't think that either Bradley or Sarah meant to do anything wrong. And I think both Bradley and Sarah were honest with me today. What, quite frankly, I'm amazed at their parents, at their mothers at least, for trying to make an excuse so that they weren't responsible.
Your Honor.
Hey, listen to me. They accept responsibility. They said they were fooling around. Who in their answer said they weren't fooling around? Which one of you?
But we're also, Your Honor, may I speak? We're also trying to find out how his head could make the dent that she described and the SRO
Call
officer...
CSI. Call CSI. She's going to show me a picture of the dent. Bradley says that he hit the car, and he told me exactly where he hit it. He says if he knew where that was, because it all happened very quickly for him, but he hit his head on the car. I'll take a look at the pictures. And if you want a forensic examination of the car, get the crime scene investigation and let them go over there and examine it. Meanwhile, I'm telling you, two parents should accept responsibility that the kids were just horsing around. They didn't mean any harm, but her car got damaged. Somebody has to be responsible. You say she's responsible because her car was parked where it shouldn't have been parked, where she was waiting for her grandson. That's ridiculous. Now, you hit the back of her car?
No.
Okay. Is the dent you're talking about right below the window?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Would you please, Bert, show this photograph to the two parents? What year vehicle do you have, Ms. Katowski?
It's a 93 Pontiac, Montana.
They can take the dent out of the back for about $400.
I've gotten it fixed.
Cost you $416? Is that what it cost?
But she also didn't return our calls when we tried to work it out with her.
That's not so. I called them.
I asked you if you would please send me pictures and estimates, and I gave you my
Yes.
address at home and my telephone number at home.
Listen.
And you were going to send me those estimates so that we could discuss it and work it
No, we
out.
didn't talk
and I never
about
got
any
one thing.
no, we
But
didn't.
you
until
listen
after
to me.
you
You're not
gave me
talking
the
to
car.
each. Listen to me. Don't talk to each other. That time's passed. You're Bradley's mother?
Yes, ma'am.
He's more responsible than you are. Told me the truth. So did she. And I get the sense, accepted responsibility for the fact that they were messing around. Most of his life he lived in the Philippines with his grandparents. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was your son when he came to live with you, Miss White?
He was 21 years old.
And how long had he lived with his grandparents in the Philippines?
Since he was 2 years old.
When he came to the United States, what was he doing?
He was unemployed for a year because he didn't want to go to work. He told me that I was supposed to support him for the rest of his life. That's what he told me.
When did he finally get a job?
A year later.
Judge, when I first came here June 1999.
Go ahead.
I started working at Boston Bioscience Research, and since then I've been working up to now.
How old are you now?
28.
28. So he lived with you for a long time.
Yes.
And for the last 7 years, he paid rent.
No, he did not.
How long did he pay rent?
He was giving me like a few hundred there and a few hundred here. Just, it wasn't a rent. It was for contribution to pay the bills.
Okay. And he was giving you money regularly to help support the house.
Not regularly, ma'am.
You said he was giving you a couple of $100s here and a couple of $100
But not
there?
every month, ma'am.
Well, who cares?
Okay.
Who cares? I don't care. And I don't know why you as a mother should care, as long as he was giving you some money. Did you give him a rent that he had to pay?
No, it wasn't a
Well,
rent.
if you didn't tell him how much he had to pay, then he paid you a couple of $100s here and a couple of $100s there, and that was your agreement. So what are you suing him for rent for?
Because he said that he's going to give me the rent. He said, okay, that's what he told me. Since you are up to me and you are a hypocrite and a liar, I'm going to pay you for the 1 month stay that I stayed at your house.
All right, Miss White, get over it. What I gather from your complaint is this young lady used to be your friend,
Yes,
and she's 10 years older than your son.
yes.
Sorry, 6 years.
6 years. And they fell in love, and you didn't approve of this.
The reason why
I don't care what the reason is.
I approve of it first, ma'am. Let me explain it to you, ma'am, okay? Back in...
I don't want to get to back in.
Okay.
Because this
Okay.
is leading up to the attorney's fees. This is
Okay.
not a soap opera here.
Okay, when my son moved in with me again, I invited...
Everything was fine between me and my son until April 2005.
Yes.
This is what you wrote. When I found out he was dating my best friend, I did not approve, and he knew it. That's what you wrote here. Shh. Mostly because she is 10 years older, only 6 years older, but also because I knew she was looking to marry him for a green card.
Correct, ma'am.
All right. That's what you wrote here. I mean, I'm not making this up.
Yes, that's
All right.
correct.
Now, there did come a point where you had an argument with your son. I'm getting to the temporary restraining order because I just got finished with your rent.
Yes.
He doesn't owe you any rent. He paid you off and on for 6 years while he lived with you. May not have been what you wanted, but you had no set rental agreement. Now, let's get to the restraining order. You filed a restraining order against your mother.
Yes, ma'am. I filed it June 7, 2005.
Tell me why.
I filed it because she started living with her and her husband. She's been, like, controlling me.
I don't care about controlling you, sir. Is that why you filed the restraining order, because she's been controlling you?
She's been controlling me and harassing me, and even harassed the girl that I dated.
I'm not talking about the girl. I'm talking about you. You filed for a protective order against her. Let me see the petition that you filed against her.
I still have the defendant copy and my original.
I just want to see what you filed, what you say your mother did to you. This is what the allegations are. She would always say bad remarks when we're talking over the phone, such as word of harassment, even threaten me that she will get my car towed and make a report that it was stolen, even though I am part owner and paying for it. constantly leaving voicemail and text messages and even dropping off a letter at my place of work, in addition to opening my letters, such as my bank statement.
That's true.
I want to see the petition that your girlfriend filed against your mother. Was it filed the same day?
Yes, June 7, 2005.
Did you follow through with your petition?
Yes, I did. We went to court on June 23rd.
You didn't follow through with yours. Yours was dismissed.
I didn't have it served. I never served it.
You never served her?
I never served it.
Okay.
Ma'am,
What?
excuse me, he didn't show up in court.
He said he never had you served.
He did have
with his
served.
case.
He had
did
me
have her
served,
served.
ma'am.
With his case, not with her
Yes,
case.
with his
Yes, sir.
case. He served me with his case.
Both restraining orders came at the same time. I received them. Sorry.
Okay, Miss White, your attorney asked the court for attorney's fees in the amount that you are asking for here in this case.
That's different issue, ma'am. That was from her. This is different from him.
I want to see the check where you paid this lawyer the $2,075 with regard to your son's case.
And
listen to me very carefully, and the $2,848 with regard to Miss Lau's case. I want to see those two checks.
I don't have the two checks. All I have is the $4,000 total because I paid in one check.
Show me.
Ma'am, I paid the money.
Show me.
I paid the money.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Don't speak out.
Okay.
You're her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Step up and show me the check where you paid the lawyer to $4,000.
I paid-
Listen.
Okay.
Step up and show me a check where you paid the lawyer $4,000.
I personally paid him.
I don't
Listen to
have
me.
the check.
That's what you're here for. So you show me proof that you paid the lawyer $4,000, almost $5,000. That's what I want to see.
There's an attachment there for 4,000 something, ma'am.
Don't you get it? I said I want to see a check that you sent. This is not a check. This is a receipt, unsigned, that says trust fund received $300, fee received $41.50. It is unsigned. And I would like to see the check that you sent. You say for fee charge $41.50 for this action. That's all I want to see. And then I will allocate that.
All I have is a statement, ma'am, from my lawyer.
Well, why don't you have the check?
Guess I didn't bring it because I thought this was enough to prove that I...
Jomi Anglo owes for attorney fees resulting from a false restraining order. Jomi is countersuing for the return of his belongings.
Let me tell you what your lawyer says, that the fee that he was charging of $4,000, one to defend a temporary restraining order and one to defend temporary order for domestic violence, he was charging you $2,000 on each. The only affidavit that we have from him involves a case involving Miss Lau, not your son. I mean, clearly, the lawyer didn't do much work with regard to your son's case because your son never appeared in court. The only one that appeared in court was Miss Lau, I assume, because she was granted a restraining order against you.
She wasn't.
It got denied, but they got warned by the judge.
Was there a trial?
Yes, there was.
Okay. So the lawyer had to prepare for a trial with regard to Miss Lau's application for a restraining order. That involves some work. The fact that your son filed this case, and I'm not excusing the fact that he filed it because he thought that you were annoying him by opening up his mail and doing whatever else.
That wasn't true, Mom.
He chose not to appear. So your lawyer, for sure, didn't charge you the same amount for representing you in a contested case against Miss Lau as opposed to one where the other side didn't appear. Do you understand?
Well, I have to appear in court, and so as my lawyer, that's
On the
why I
same
have to pay.
Just a second, you appeared on the same date?
No, Mom, it's a separate day. It was June 29 that I appeared for the court date for his.
And what date did you appear on her case?
June 23rd.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, then her lawyer had to appear with regard to your case.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've read your allegations, Mr. Anglo, and I think that your mother is a little bit of a pain. But I don't necessarily think that you felt sufficiently threatened to file a case against her. She may have been a pain in the neck, but that's not what we use the judicial system for. Now, the threats that she made with regard to Miss Lau, I think were more substantial. She certainly has a right to do some of the things that she does, but I certainly think it was not good form for her to do some of the things that she did with regard to somebody who's going to have her grandchild.
I really don't know if that's my grandchild because he had told me that when he had the accident at Osh, he cannot have a baby.
Miss White, I want to tell you something. You are such a foolish lady.
I'm sorry,
You
Mom.
are a very foolish lady because right now they're a couple.
She's still married, ma'am.
Oh, please. You're a very foolish lady. Listen, when you come back and bring me the check from the lawyer that you paid the lawyer, I'll entertain your application
Okay,
again if you want to. But now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the benefit of my advice. She is going to have his child, your grandchild. I assume at this point your only grandchild, and the fact that you are being such a pain in the butt is not going to serve you in the future. All I'm telling you is, you know, you got a head that's thick like this table. She's going to have your grandchild.
You just don't know how, where I've been
When you
through.
come back with the check, I'll see you.
When is that, Mom?
That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think parenting's not for everybody.
He threatened to ruin my credit.
You see the example?
He didn't pay his car payment.
Meddling with my personal affairs.
She's married and I have a child back home already.
I don't want anything to do with her.
I'm gonna come back when I get the check.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dalton versus Menard Crane.
Drew Dalton is suing his former friends, Arena Menard and her husband, David Crane, for several unpaid loans.
Now, Mr. Dalton, these two people were friends of yours.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And according to your complaint, you made a series of loans to both of them.
Yes.
After you made one or more of these small loans, you sort of got disgusted because they hadn't paid you anything back.
No.
So you said, listen, let me finish. I'm going to give you a broad stroke, Mr. Dalton, and then I'm going to get down to what I'm going to do today. So you said, listen, you haven't paid me back money that I lent him, Mr. Crane, and so I need some collateral for these loans. And you took as collateral the title to their car.
Just wait till she's done.
And then, according to you, you saw they were spending money on other stuff, and you didn't get any of your money back, and then you were afraid they were going to move out of town. To make a long story short, the car is now an impound. You want the money that you loaned them, or in the alternative, since you've repossessed the collateral, you want an order saying the car belongs to you.
One of the two.
Right? Quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you want an order that says the car belongs to you so that it'll be released to you, or in the alternative, the value of the car.
Yes.
So when it really comes down to it, and I've read through both your complaints and the answer, you want me to make a decision whose car this is.
Yes.
Because if it's your car, because it was the collateral on a defaulted loan, you'll get an order that says to the sheriff to release the car to you. And if I find that it was not collateral on the loan, that he wrongfully took possession of this car, you will get an order that says the car belongs to you, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Drew Dalton says former friends Arena Menard and husband David Crane owe for several loans. Arena and David are countersuing, claiming Drew stole their car.
So, Mr. Dalton, you made a series of loans to them.
Yes, I made. Can I speak?
Now you
Yeah.
can speak.
Okay. I made a loan to Mr. Crane for $1,000, and he was supposed to go out on a fishing trip and come back and then pay me when he got back in
You mean a fishing
October.
a work trip?
He worked for a fishing boat, and well, while he's gone, I made some loans to Arena, which totaled up to like $300.
That is not true.
And
How much did he give you, Mr. Crane?
Give me $1,000.
Why did you ask Mr. Dalton for $1,000?
So me and Arena, my wife now, so go get married. Surprise her and go get married.
Why would he give you $1,000? Is he a very rich man?
I don't know about that.
When
but
were you supposed to pay him back?
upon returning from my fishing trip.
Okay. And did you go on your fishing trip?
Yes, I did.
Did you come back from your fishing trip?
Yes, I did.
Did you pay him the money?
No, not at that time. But we later discussed payments to him,
Yeah,
and,
later
and both
after-
of us agreed upon that, that we were going to make the payments
Okay,
out.
just a second. So you defaulted on the loan initially?
Yes.
Fine. And you
That
didn't
took-
give him the $1,000?
like took off.
When you were, when you were supposed to?
No.
When did you get back from your fishing trip?
September 2nd. No, excuse me. It was on
No.
October 27th.
Yeah, close to
When did he give you the $1,000?
first week of September.
And you got back almost 2 months later?
Yeah, almost 2 months.
And when did you make your first payment to him on this revised schedule?
He did get a chance to make the payment because of the fact that...
Because you took off.
He did get a chance to make the payment because I was the one that was always in constant contact with him. We talked about it, and I told him that we were having problems with the payments, that he has to find another job because he didn't want to be a fisherman anymore because he came back from his fishing trip and his captain burned him practically for $6,000. But that's
Well,
why...
where were you working?
I wasn't working.
Why not?
Because I'm an SSI recipient.
For what?
For my back.
What's wrong with your back?
I have severe scoliosis, and I was born without 2 discs in my back.
You walked in here just fine.
I know this, but
It's
I know
painful.
it's a painful thing every day. It's 24/7. I have they want me to have surgery, and I refuse to have surgery.
They want you to have surgery.
I'm afraid of the
to cure
surgery.
the pain so that you could work and you wouldn't be on SSI anymore and you wouldn't be in constant pain, and you have decided not to have the surgery.
I'm afraid of the surgery, yes, ma'am, because of one back surgery leads to another.
How long have you been on SSI?
A year.
Prior to that, what were you doing?
Trying to get a job, and then they told me that I
When was
and
the
also-
last
it's
time
also-
you were employed on a full-time basis?
When I lived in Florida.
How long ago?
It's been a while. 3 years.
95.
When did I go?
8.
I'm not sure, ma'am. I don't know.
You mean you don't know when the last time you worked is?
Well, yeah, when we lived in Florida 2 years
Give me
ago.
a year.
3 years ago.
You have children?
Yes, I do, but they don't live with me.
Who do they live with?
They live in Ukaipa. They're grown. Well, not grown all the way, but grown.
How old are they?
19, 17, 16, and 14.
Who do they live with?
2 of them I had to have adopted out because my ex-husband refused to be a father, and I couldn't take care of them. And my daughters live with their grandmother on their dad's side.
Now I'll hear you, sir.
Okay, he forgot to mention that when he came back from the fishing trip and he bought a car, he bought a fur coat, bought a diamond ring. And
What, a fur coat for who?
Her.
What does she need a fur coat for in bed?
I don't know.
Excuse me, yeah.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
And then, you know, I'm going, well, where's my money? And he's telling me, give me a story. And then they take off to Alaska.
We didn't go to
And
Alaska.
I'm gone.
Don't speak.
I'm out of my money, you know?
Just a second.
They took off, left town, didn't tell me nothing. They just split. So I thought I lost my money right there.
Then they came back.
Then they came back
How did they travel to Alaska?
in the car.
She was able to sit in a car
Yeah.
long enough to get her
Apparently.
to Alaska? Sit in a car? Who are you?
Witness for the defendants.
What are you laughing at, sir? You think it's funny that the public is probably being scammed by this lady? You think that that's a riot?
I'm not
No,
being scammed.
she's not. She's not trying to scam anyone.
Sir, let me explain something to you. SSI was not intended for people who choose not to relieve their pain from having surgery. And if you can live and move around and get from there to there, then you can get a job.
I've tried to get
J-O-B. Get a job on a telephone, sitting in your living room, making calls. You sit in the living room, watch TV. Get a job as a telemarketer. Get a job doing something when you owe money. Car belongs to you, sir.
Thank you.
I will enter an order that they defaulted on their loan, as a result of which you repossessed the car. The car is rightfully yours. Put your hand down, and that order will be cut within the next 10 minutes. Thank you
Your
very
Honor.
much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may